right, day 5 for our algebra review. All right, you'll see that these fractions got a lot more complicated. Good news is that this is good algebra review and good algebra practice. And also, typically in geometry, you're not going to see anything this crazy or this big. But let's deal with it. A couple different ways you're going to deal with this. I've kind of alluded to this in several of the other videos. But the first thing I'm going to do is what I call canceling the fractions, which means I'm going to just multiply everything we have now by the denominator. Now this time our denominator is a little bit complicated. There's a 3, there's a 4, there's a 3. So we got to think about what number is divisible by 3 and 4. And to me, that number comes to my head is 12, because I can do 12 divided by 3 and get a nice number, and I can do 12 divided by 4 and get a nice number. But if that didn't come to you that easily, you can always just multiply all the denominators together. Now if you do 3 times 4 times 3, you're going to get 36, which is a little bit bigger than this number, but the problem will still work perfectly. You're still going to find your h value. You're just going to use a little bit bigger numbers than what I'm using. But that's totally okay, and it's a way to solve the problem. And that's all I'm looking for. So when I do this, I'm going to now distribute the 12 to all parts here. And this is distributing it to the entire equation, both sides. We just need to distribute that. So 12 times 2 is going to give me 24h over 3. Minus 12 times 1 is going to be 12 over 4. And 12 times 1, again, is 12 over 3. And this problem doesn't look any better. In fact, it looks a little bit worse. But let's start simplifying these fractions. When I do 24 divided by 3, okay, you type that in your calculator, you just get 8. So this becomes 8h minus, if I do 12 divided by 4 in my calculator, we get 3. And when I do 12 divided by 3, we get 4. So now looking at this problem, this is looking way easier to me than this mess right here. So this is just a nice step that is going to take something that looks pretty complicated and get something that's, kind of nice and normal from what we're used to. Me personally, I hate working with fractions, so this is going to be a step I do every single time to make my life easier. So now let's actually solve the equation. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Add 3 to both sides. So we get 8h is equal to 7 divided by 8 divided by 8. And my answer then is a fraction, 7/8. Or 7 over 8. Which, once again, would have been very tough to find if you just kept those all as fractions. All right, here, and just quick to see if I do end up doing 36 instead of 12. So remember, the 100% guaranteed way of doing it is take all your denominators and multiply them. So 3 times 4 times 3, which gives me 36. You'll see we have pretty much the same problem, just with bigger numbers. So you'll see this over here, which once again, 72 is a whole lot bigger than 24. And this is the basic equation we're working with. But we still get down to just 7 over 8 as my final answer. So it's going to work either way. And we have ourselves a word problem. So for her cellular phone service, Vera paid $32 a month plus 75 cents for each minute over the allowed minutes. In her plan, Vera received a bill for $47 last month. For how many minutes did she use her phone beyond the allowed minutes? All right, so we're going to set up an equation here. I know that her total bill was $47, so I'm actually going to start with that. Equals 47. I know that she pays a one-time fee of $32, which means we're just going to add on that $32 fee. And then I also know for every single minute, for each minute she does this, it's going to be 75 cents. And this question is how many minutes, so I know my minutes has to be the x value. And it would be 0.75 for each minute she goes over. So 0.75x plus 32. Once we can set that up, we can then solve. So subtract 32 from both sides. This is going to give me 15 which equals 0.75x. And if you want to turn that into a fraction and do 3/4, that's totally fine too. So if you like that. This would be very difficult math to do without a calculator. But if you've got a calculator on you, then this is probably simpler. So you just divide by 0.75, and we're going to get an answer of x equals 20. And since this is a word problem, I should label my answer. So the question is, for how many minutes did she use her phone book beyond the allowed minutes? So it would be 20 minutes beyond. There we go. All right, and here we have 2 more problems to do. So once again, pause the video, give it your best shot. When you resume, you'll see the work. All right, here we go. So for the word problem, so the population of Zimbabwe was about 12.6 million. So here's our equals. Was is going to translate to equals 12.6, which was 1 million more than means addition, 4 times the population. So where x is that population. Actually, it should probably be a p. So we have p equals 2.9 million people. On the next problem, we just want to make sure we cancel our denominators to the problem. I do know that I can do 15 divided by 5, 15 divided by 3, and then 15 divided by 5, so that works out nicely. If I couldn't figure out that 15, then remember you can just multiply 5 times 3 times 5 and get 75. You will have bigger numbers, but you will get the answer, the same exact answer. There is the algebra review for the day.